Aloha, and welcome to the 5th Global Storm Outlook. It is the 17th of November 2017. There is a lot to cover, so let's just get right on down to it. First of all, let's jump back to the 11th of November, which was the last outlook. And there was this storm system over North Africa that we were looking at. And I was wondering whether we'd see a lot of dust wrapping into this system, which is rotating like that. And at the time, you couldn't see it probably underneath this cloud. But as the next pass came in, you can begin to see these streaks of dust coming off North Africa and into the Mediterranean. They're flowing in off this flank of the storm system and flowing into the storm system. But things got more dramatic on the next day, which was the 12th of November. So let's move forward. And here is the storm system. You can see the rotational structure. And look at the plume of sand wrapping into this system and into particularly this line of very distinct and intense looking thunderstorms. You can see the shadow on the northwestern side of it. Looking over at the coast here, there's a very thick stream of dust coming off North Africa, and you can even see structures in the dust, elevated dust field there. On the 13th of November, the system moved towards the east and appears to have lost a lot of its convection and thunderstorms. But now you can see the dust streaking off and into Crete. Moving to the 14th, the dust progressed further east and the structure of the storm is mainly gone, but you're left with this sort of remains of the storm in the form of this dust. On the 12th of November, while our low pressure system off the North African coast was heading towards the east, we had, and we were looking at in the last outlook, the development of another low pressure system coming down from the northwest into the Mediterranean. As we move to the 13th of November, you can see that low pressure system sweeping down across Italy, and into the 14th of November it's heading more down towards the south. By the 15th of November, it's still located over Italy, and bands of convection moving in over Greece. And then it progresses, and there's more thunderstorms heading into the Greece area. Now, this turned out to be a significant weather event and a tragic one, with severe flooding occurring in Greece. These storms in Greece have tragically killed at least 15 people in severe floods. And the towns that were worst affected were to the west of Athens, and they were Mandra, Ni, Paramas, and Megara. Here's a map of Greece, and we can have a look to see where these towns were located, west of Athens over here. And actually, they're all along this coast. There's Ni and Mandra and Megara, so all in this region. This event appears to be caused by a regional and persistent thunderstorm in the region of those towns here to the west of Athens. This is a lightning animation covering a 24-hour period that ends at around midday on the 15th of November, and the region to watch is where I'm pointing with my arrow. And what you'll see is, well, there are all these huge amounts of thunderstorms, but particularly there and there and there in this region, you'll see a persistent area of thunderstorms, and they go on for several hours. And in fact, the time period of those lightning strikes goes on from 3 a.m. to about 10 a.m. on and off. So it's a very persistent, localized and ongoing thunderstorm, possibly anchoring against some hill or something, but a very significant there, and then finally at 10 a.m. there. So several pulses of thunderstorm activity in the same region, which was very likely responsible for that severe flooding. Let's move across now to the Indian subcontinent, where there have been twin issues. One is this storm system that's moved up the east coast of India, and the other is, of course, all of that severe pollution that's been in the north. This animation goes all the way from the 13th to the 17th of November. India is off on the left here. And you can see all of the thunderstorms associated with this system. This is showing the cloud top temperatures. But most of the deepest clouds appear to stay offshore during the period over the Bay of Bengal before the system finally begins to weaken. In terms of the rain in this system, we can look at some satellite-derived rainfall products from polar orbiting, and these provide snapshot rainfall estimates. You can see the circular nature of this Bay of Bengal system, very large round donut. This is the November the 11th, and this is the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. And if we look at the 16th, yesterday, we can see very high rainfall estimates just off the coast. And in fact, where it's gone purple here in this area of red, I believe this means it's gone off the scale, and in this case that means greater than 25 millimeters per hour. Generally, over this period, it looks like the worst of the rain remained offshore, but I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything in the news. Let's take a look at how the pollution situation fared in India over the period. Well, actually, we're way back on the 8th of November in this image. So it was all concentrated up in the north, as you can see. This is the 9th, 10th. And on the 10th you can begin to see some of it filtering out into the Arabian Sea and more there. But it's still largely over India. The storm system moved into the north on the 14th that we looked at in the last outlook. And then eventually we've got the storm system we're just looking at in the Bay of Bengal. And that you begin to see some influence of that sucking some of this pollution out into the Arabian Sea, and that is more pronounced even so on the 16th of November, where it looks like the pollution has now covered most of western India in that flow coming out from the north on the western side of that system. And that's the last image that I have here on the 17th of November. Now we've got this big east-west divide across India, with the pollution getting sucked down from the north across the whole of the west. Okay, now let's move on to the forecast. As per usual, I'm looking at the 10-day forecast here, with the days are over here, the date and days, so that's the 18th, 19th, 20th. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to put on labels of areas of interest and events of interest, and then the number I put next to it will be the date on which the maximum impact is. The first thing of note is a tropical system there that appears to move into Vietnam, and that's right at the beginning of the forecast. This system is actually currently over the Philippines, and it looks like it's heading into the similar region to the damaging typhoon from a while ago, Damre. So we're going to look at this thing first. This is what that system looks like right now. We've got the Philippines on the right and Vietnam on the left, and it's already got quite a lot of active convection, as you can see. And it looks like the Joint Typhoon Warning Center has it intensifying to a tropical storm, if it's not already, pretty soon, and then tracking into Vietnam. Now, as a tropical storm, it should have the next name on the list, which is Kiroji, and it looks like it's going into the Vietnam region on the 19th. Now, this is going into a very similar area to Typhoon Damre, and although this is a weaker system, it's likely to bring a lot of heavy rain, and that was the main problem with Damre, so this could be a potentially significant and damaging event. These plots show the forecast 24-hour precipitation rainfall totals for each 6-hourly period. The storm is down here in the South China Sea. You can see the rainfall associated with it. If we move forward, you'll see the rain progress towards Vietnam here, and the totals are large in this section of coastline, and this is just one model simulation, rainfall unreliable, but anyway, that gives you an idea. It's about, that is 200 millimeters, so 20 centimeters in 24 hours for the period, and this is 18th to 19th of November. The Mediterranean system actually moves into Turkey there and then into the southern Caspian Sea, so I would quite like to have a quick look at that too. So this is our look at the Middle East. This is the best map for this particular system, and I've labeled Turkey there, T for Turkey, and Saudi Arabia down here, Egypt, and the system progresses through Turkey and as it hits the higher mountains, produces snowfall over the Turkish mountains. The snowfall is indicated by the blue colours, and the reds, the greens and yellows and reds are rainfall, with the oranges and reds being the heaviest. It progresses through, bringing rain into Israel and Syria, Lebanon, that area, with particularly heavy rain for southern Turkey on November 21st, and then into Syria, Lebanon, Israel on November 21st as well there, and particularly heavy rains in the mountains of those Middle Eastern areas by the looks of things. And then it progresses through, bringing some heavy rain to the Caspian. I was thinking that might be snow, but it looks like it's not, at least at the coastal areas. Australia is pulsing away. As you can see, thunderstorms pop up during the day and then die away at night, and they're pretty extensive, and a lot going on in Queensland, and the Northern Territory is in its pre-monsoon season, where there are a lot of thunderstorms. Close to the beginning of the period, there appears to be a system there that spirals into the northern coasts of the North Island, New Zealand. So let's take a look at that, and that is on the 19th. This is the New Zealand Met Service's high-resolution model, which shows the rain and the winds as barbs. The rain is the colours, and you can see the rain of that system moving down and just clipping the northern coast, but it's not especially heavy. Nonetheless, they have a couple of warnings for severe gales and heavy rain on the eastern coast here. You may also have spotted that there is a disturbance moving into the Bay of Bengal there, but that is right at the end of the forecast period, and so far off we can't really put any weight on it. There is a low pressure system forecast to develop over the eastern United States on the 18th of November, and it has snowfall on its northern and western flanks. The guys of Tropical Tidbits are venturing out of their tropical realm here, because they're showing some nice snowfall plots, and these are totals in inches, and so you can see that as that storm system moves through, and it's moved through by about then, which is November 21st, you can see totals are in the 10 to 15 inches of snowfall in Canada, eastern Canada. Also looks like in South America, more storminess coming into Argentina and South Brazil, with a particular event on the 17th of November, which is there. Another thing I'd like to point out on this map is the streams of what looks almost like a kind of a smoky effect streaming off towards Japan here, and you just see it going on for several days. Now, this is where I'm actually heading soon, which I'll be heading to Hokkaido, and these will, as winter progresses, be turning more and more to snowfall and bringing heavy snow to Hokkaido. This is a lake effect type thing, except the lake is huge and the winds are very cold off Siberia, so this leads to Sapporo being one of the snowiest cities on Earth. Okay, that's all I've got for today. Hopefully do another one next week, maybe Thursday or Friday. Later.